Welcome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to First Saturday Science monthly highlight scientist video. This month, we have a scientist with us in real life who is also an alumni of Metropolitan State University. So we have Kameron here, who's going to be our highlighted scientist of the month. Kameron, if you would like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Hey everybody, my name is Kameron Lindsay, and I recently graduated from Metro State with a degree in chemistry here. I'm really proud of it because I was the first person in my family to go to college, so everybody's excited for me, and it feels like a big deal for the whole family. I think what brought me to science was just kind of a lifelong interest. I always thought it was cool, I always thought it was fun and interesting. And I recently started working at the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency doing some environmental work. I'm a permit writer for industrial facilities, which is companies you see out there, like 3M, for example, is one.
Perfect. Can you go a little bit more into detail what led you into working in the sciences and studying it?
Like I said, I was always interested in science. As a kid, I remember watching like Star Trek and a bunch of sci-fi, The Magic School Bus, Bill Nye, all that stuff when I was growing up. And I always thought it was cool, but it was always a bit challenging for me in school. I never really did well with math. It was always challenging, and it never quite clicked for me until later in life, actually. It was kind of toward the end of high school and going into college that I found myself kind of on that path. I originally went to school for nursing because I knew I wanted to help people. I had people in my family that had been sick or, had health issues where healthcare made a big impact in their lives. And I saw the importance of, having your health be solid. And so what brought me to kind of being interested in environmental work was when I started taking classes for nursing, I started taking chemistry classes and a lot of the more science-based classes. And I really started to think about how there was that overlap between health and the environment, and how easy it is to get sick when you're exposed to pollution, or if you grow up around it, or if it's something that is just a part of your life that you don't even really think about, but it's out there. So that led me to wanting to try and do something about that, try to help in that way. It kind of clicked for me. I started having fun with chemistry, and I realized that maybe I could use that knowledge to try and not just kind of clean up the environment, but hopefully prevent bad stuff and pollution from getting out in the environment in the first place.
Perfect. That's a wonderful answer. As far as obstacles go, what obstacles would you say that you've had to overcome in your journey to working in the sciences?
Sure. Well, I am the first person in my family that went to college, so that was a big challenge because I made a lot of mistakes that you don't even realize are mistakes. Like what I wanted to study, I wasn't sure when I started, how to pay for it. What options there were out there for like financial aid and things, what resources were available to me. I found a lot of that out on my own kind of as I stumbled through it. And then just even when I was younger, I always struggled in school. I was kind of a class clown. And so I had a hard time focusing and paying attention. And it was challenging to kind of believe in myself after a while, because when you had teachers, I had teachers that I think because I was joking around in class maybe thought I was just a bad student, or that I didn't have the ability, or I wasn't smart, or I couldn't do it. And I always did, I just didn't have the motivation exactly. So I always had the potential, but it just wasn't really realized as I was younger. And I grew up with single mom, so she was working most of the time, and there's a lot of times where she wasn't really able to help me with my homework, or we didn't really have that kind of relationship, I guess, when I was younger. I think just kind of having to kind of make it on my own ended up being the biggest challenge for me. But once I realized that I could do it and it was interesting, and started to get a little bit of confidence, feeling like, oh yeah, I actually understand this stuff, and it's really cool, it's really interesting. That kind of sent me on this path.
Nice. So really believing in yourself really helps you overcome a lot of those obstacles.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. What skills would you say contributed to your overall success outside of believing in yourself?
I would say really just like perseverance was a big thing. Just keeping at it. Even when things were really challenging, like certain courses in math that I took, or even when I had challenges outside of school too. Like there's points in time where I was having to work a couple different jobs, or I had to deal with like my own health issues, for example, and all of that kind of takes away from your ability to really like focus and kind of stay connected to what you're trying to learn. So for me, it was just kind of sticking to it, taking my time and just not giving up. It took me several more years than they say it should take you to go through school. But I think that's okay, because eventually you get it, you make it through a program, and I think you come out better for it because you have a really good understanding of what you learned when you spend some real time with it.
That's perfect. Yes, being able to continue on and not stop will always lead to success, right? My last question is, what would be your main advice to youth today wanting to get started in science?
I would say, if you want to get started in science, just be curious and stay curious. Let your imagination run wild, and just keep at it. Ask all the questions in the world that you want to. And if you want to learn about something, if you want to know about something, and you ask somebody and they don't know, go somewhere else. Ask somebody else. Just that keep that pursuit of knowledge and that curiosity, because then you start to think differently about things than anybody has before, and that your imagination and your creativity, that can lead to questions that nobody's asked before, and that can lead down a path of research that maybe nobody's ever thought to try. And that's ultimately what's going to lead you to like staying successful. And I think that's what's going to lead you to really, really loving science and kind of having a passion for it, is just letting it be like an artistic expression, even though a lot of people will tell you that the arts and the sciences aren't the same. That creativity is the same.
Perfect. That is a fantastic answer. Thank you so much, Kameron Lindsay, for taking time out of your day to come and speak and be our interviewee and our highlight scientist for the month. Everyone, stay curious, and we will see you next time, next month. And thank you for watching.